To
stream.
Let's see if it started.
Yes, we're back on.
We're back on?
Yes. Ah.
Is it actually working?
Let's see.
Gotta wait. Go just now. Hey!
I think it should be working.
Okay. See if the chat is working. Let's have a look. Sorry guys, we've been trying to get chat working. We're gonna see if this works. Okay, can anyone see our chat there? I'm just gonna check Facebook.
Yeah, check your Facebook.
It says that we're.
It says that we're live, so let's hope that we are.
It says there's people in.
Excellent.
I'm just checking now. Just see whether there's any. Please, we have a message in Facebook, but it hasn't popped up on our chat window.
Could we put? How do we do comments?
Well, hi, Liz. Your mum has said hello.
Hey guys.
What we might do?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna quickly check.
We're just gonna keep editing and fiddling
Keep
up
talking.
with
This is a bit of.
technology.
We have to do one where we just get this done.
Yeah. The funny thing is, so we've been trying to use OBS today, which I think will be better quality and better going forward. I've created a funny background, which I actually fitted for Restream, the other streaming service. Excellent. Oh, we can see. Okay, comments. Okay. Cool.
Awesome. There we go. Okay, it's actually working. It's just
amazing.
There's a massive delay on
comments.
On that, so.
And it was so funny as we were. Wait, can we like unread that screen? Can we just like click away from it?
Something's always gonna be red.
Oh really?
Oh,
we're cool. Okay. And that's it was funny because as we were trying to just set this up really quickly today, and it took a lot longer than we thought it would. There was one part where we had to, Meow had to write a recapture, and we're like, oh, we've got to do this really fast, and it was like, choose which pictures look like mountains and which ones are hills, and we're like,
There was a lot going on. Now, it's been a busy week. Since we've started streaming, it's like always a busy week.
Yeah, absolutely, a busy news week every week, because so many funny things are happening in the world. What's your favorite hilarious thing that has happened this week? It might not be that hilarious, in fact. It might be tragic or terrible.
We've actually just had some news come in the last hour, which we just saw, which was pretty full on. Which at the moment, for those of you overseas, oh, by the way, we're a little bit closer this week. For some reason, our camera has shrunk down. So
we'll be like this.
Charlie's Angels.
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh no, we've done. How do we do it? Oh. We just ruined our quality. Okay. We need like a little manual.
We do. Hold on, the hand is in focus.
Oh
no. Wow, so many technical issues this week.
Is it closer or further away? Maybe it's further away.
Oh my god.
Maybe okay, so many technical issues. Maybe I'm gonna close the light and then.
Oh dear.
Just put your glasses on and you'll be able to see.
There we go. I have my hand.
Okay.
So. Oh, oh, hilarious. So normally when we go out of focus, Meow and I do this thing where we put our heads really close.
And then
we just bring it back, but it's not working.
I reckon we need to.
Nothing's working.
Nothing's working today.
Oh, don't move.
Okay, so Queensland is in lockdown for the next 3 days.
Yeah, Queensland in Australia.
And one of the people went to a party on the border of New South Wales and Queensland at Byron Bay. Right. Why is Byron Bay notorious?
Byron Bay is notorious in Australia for being, more recently, like where all the wealthy and rich people move to have these sort of fancy holidays, but it has a really large sort of spiritual community, a big hippie community up there.
How do they cure illness?
So a lot of people in Byron Bay believe that, I think, corona isn't real, or that they can cure illness through other sort of how do we describe it? Alternative healing methods.
Very alternative.
Very alternative. So it's a bit of a worry that Corona has now popped up in
Now they're notorious. They've actually had outbreaks of like measles and rubella because they've got such low vaccination rates there. And it's just been confirmed. Seven people have tested positive as of an hour ago to coronavirus, which is fantastic news for me and my testing business.
Right.
There's
always someone that benefits. From every tragedy, there's always someone that benefits, and it will be all the people with the corona testing business.
Yeah.
Let's just see. So the comments are pretty small. I wonder if we could make them a little bit larger. I think that would be really helpful. Do you reckon we could do that?
I can. Give me 1 second. What I'm going to try to do is this. I'm going to try...
Just so... Oh, love that. Yes.
That.
Amazing.
There you go.
Cool.
Okay. It was Byron Bay World Naked Bike Ride on the 14th of March.
That's so cool. So look, there are some really great things about Byron Bay, and I love to go there as well as for a holiday. It's a great holiday destination, and there's a commune that I've visited a couple of times, and I've loved there. Yeah.
I couldn't last it. I lasted 4 days. I literally said to my partner at the time that the woo was too much.
What's the woo?
Well, I can't eat organic food.
You can't.
I'm allergic.
What are you allergic to in organic food?
Bullshit. I can't eat bullshit. Well, like, people like to talk about big pharma, right?
Yeah.
But there's big pharma with an F, F-A-R-M-E-R, and the organic farmers, they pay money to an organic standard, an organic industry, and then that money gets paid to protest groups like Friends of the Earth, and then those people literally fly across the country and come and protest my lab.
Your laboratory.
I've been protested by Friends of the Earth.
Is this recently?
In the last 5 years.
What a funny thing to have your laboratory protested against. So they just pop up outside. Do they have like a sit-in protest? What sort of protest?
They handed out flyers and tried to get me arrested by the government.
Who hasn't done that though, really?
So anyway.
To Meow, who hasn't tried to get him arrested?
So I can't spend money on organic food, and I couldn't eat in Byron Bay because it's all organic, all certified organic.
Okay, so, but you're not really allergic. You're just ethically against.
Ethically against. I'm like the vegetarian of organic food.
A vegetarian of organic food, yeah.
And every new girlfriend, I have to tell them. I said to my new girlfriend, I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry, that has to go in the bin. I won't eat organic food.
You can't waste it.
I can.
You can.
That's like saying to a vegetarian, oh, you can't waste the ham and cheese sandwich.
But maybe that's more of a, I feel like that's a more significant choice than your choice. Like,
is it? Is it?
Like organic food. What's the difference between organic food and normal food?
Not that much. A lot of it's just money, right?
Yeah. So I feel like that's a bigger difference as to like whether it's been, alive or not.
Yeah.
That's not as significant. I think anyway.
It depends, but it depends on who you are, right? Because about your livelihood.
Yeah, this is true.
I imagine that there's butchers that probably don't want people to go vegetarian for the same reason that I don't want everyone to eat organic.
Yeah, right. Okay, I see. Totally.
I want to thank everyone as well for bearing with us through all the technical problems. I really appreciate it.
I'm also always just super surprised that you guys want to hang out. I love hanging out with you, so it's great. Thank you so much for being here. Now just checking which way the comments going. Are they going up or down?
They're going up. So this is
up?
the top.
Okay,
the
so
top is the top takes a little while.
Sorry, so there's a bit of a delay.
Now, what's been happening in the past? Probably the biggest thing, literally the biggest thing.
The Suez Canal.
The Suez Canal.
What are your thoughts on the Suez Canal? On the Suez Canoe.
Yeah.
The Suez Canoe. What are your thoughts on that incident? Okay, I had a thought that I would like to share. I think recently we've discovered through COVID-19 being this big worldwide event, and through just this big ship, being caught in the Suez Canal, how easily our society and our processes can be disrupted and changed. So with the Suez Canal, the boat, it cost something like, so far over the days, it's just now moved along, so it's now been cleared. But $10 billion have, been, I guess you could say, wasted here.
Late fees. It's just late fees.
Except, oh, yeah, they'll just be passed along, won't they?
We don't get late fees anymore.
And 15% of global trade has been impacted.
That is ridiculous.
And that is ridiculous. And this is just a boat being stuck. You know, and isn't it interesting how fragile human society is, that our whole global systems just get impacted by these things?
What would you, if you were in the boat just behind the Ever Given?
Is that what the boat was called?
Yeah.
The Ever Given, right?
What would you do?
You
know what I'd do?
I'd be cackling. Yeah.
I'd fucking wedge it in the centre and clock it again.
Wait. What do you mean? You wedge it?
If I was the next boat,
Yeah.
I would just say, what?
I just understood. Round. This is an anarchist right here.
That's it.
He's like 15% of global trade. I'm thinking 50%
fuck, I can beat that.
of global trade.
25% global trade.
I heard a story, and I don't know if it's true or not. I saw it on Reddit. Actually, no, a friend of mine saw it on Reddit and told me about it. That there was all these bunny rabbits caught on this one ship. Did you hear about this?
Live food. I heard about that there was live food, but that was all I heard.
No, they weren't food. They were Egyptian bunnies, and they're a really popular pet. And they were being taken to Europe because everyone's home now and everyone wants to have pets. So there were like 60,000 bunnies on this container, or on this part of the ship.
Yeah.
And they went, oh my god, these bunnies are all here, but they can't take them back to where they came from because they were like the last of the season or something. It was like the bunny food had already all been given out.
Oh,
so
no.
these bunnies were meant to be delivered to all these people, and they're going, oh my god, all these cute little bunny rabbits, 60,000 of them are going to die because of this, blockage. So someone else on Reddit saw that and said, hold on, I have a manifest of what ships are going out here.
What?
And I can see that there's another container with all these rotting carrots.
What?
All these carrots that are stuck here. And there was some sort of movement around trying to get the carrots to the bunny rabbits so that they could live on. So that was something on Reddit. So we don't know what the result was of that. Did you guys know what happened there?
What they should have done is put all of the contents of all of the containers on a blockchain that anyone can go and check. Then install little catapults between all of the carrot pults in this case, and then you could say, oh, I want to pay to shoot one of the carrots into the bunny rabbit's container. And
now let's pop on comments. Yeah,
comments are not updating. You are correct.
Oh no. Oh, okay. But now they have updated. Do we have to keep?
So, what I'm going to do is that's fine. I'm going to keep this window in focus because it looks like if I keep this here,
sure. Yeah,
fine. Oh, actually, you know what? That works fine. We can see even better.
Okay, let's just jump back through the comments to see what people have said. I don't want to leave anyone out, you guys. You're all important.
F5. Thank you, Twitch. Boats and bats to combat capitalism. Damn straight. So basically what Suez Canal is a failure of capitalism. How many boats have been stuck in China?
Have been stuck in China as a result of this incident? What do you mean?
As a result, because they don't have capitalism, right? Boats don't get stuck in China. If a boat ever got stuck in China anywhere, they would just fix the fucking problem.
Right.
But this was like, you know why this happened?
Why did this happen?
Okay, so when you want to go through the Suez Canal.
Okay.
Sweet. First of all, you have to pay me $100,000.
Okay.
It's a fucking lot of money.
That is so much.
That's like
I feel like these big companies are like, no problem.
I complain about tolls going on the M5.
The tolls on the M5.
$100,000. But not only do you have to pay me $100,000, you have to now pay me another $10,000, and then I get to drive your ship.
Oh right, yeah. Well, you're hiring a driver.
Yeah,
yeah,
as well.
That makes sense.
But so these little tugs are employed by the Panama or whatever fucking the Suez authorities, right?
Okay.
And they're not like, there's good ones and there's bad ones, and some like really inexperienced ones supposedly were in charge of navigating it through this canal because you're not trusted to do it yourself. It's done by like the little tugs. And then they crashed it. And they like blamed the driver of the Ever Given, but it was like the Suez authority, the people who actually control the fucking channel,
right,
that crashed it.
I thought it was a dust storm that
it was, but they were also inexperienced. So the thing was, they paid $110,000 for someone else to crash their ship.
Wow.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, and I feel so sorry for the driver, because supposedly the actual captain of the ship didn't do anything wrong. And he's been like tarred with this, and the company that made it is saying like...
Everyone wants to blame somebody, and it's usually the smaller workers down the line, isn't it?
They do.
Now, hold on. I think that the comments are not updating again.
Yeah.
Are they? Are they okay?
No, I think we're
They're
alright.
okay?
I think we're actually on track.
Alright, I'm like...
Also, we need to get to 100 comments before we stop, so please can everyone comment lots. There we go.
A few years back, Stephen Morello says, a few years back they were talking about using airships to lift heavy shit like parts.
Damn
of
straight
power
1 out of 5
plants. Wow.
already.
Maybe a ship is too big for one or multiple airships.
Yeah, so I think I think there's even bigger problems here, which is that the trade around the world is just stupid. Like, ships are kind of cool.
Why is it stupid?
So, well, I think that, seriously, there is an answer to all of these problems. You know we have, like, internet, there's cables all around the world.
Yeah.
Why don't we just run a little tube beside all those cables? And every time you need to deliver something, you just put it in the tube.
Right. But how big is the tube?
Different sized tubes depending on who's using it. There's a car-sized tube that Elon Musk's already actually making. There's a human-sized tube for Qantas.
That's in LA, right? He's making a tunnel system.
Boring Company is making tunnel systems.
In
Seriously,
LA?
we solved,
That's what Elon Musk is doing.
In the 1960s, we found the best form of transportation: vacuum tubes.
We found them.
Just like
We found them.
Okay, when you think of the future, do you think of ships getting stuck in canals, or do you think of Futurama, where everyone travels via tube?
I think of Futurama,
Damn
right?
straight.
Wait, what's your other option? Ships getting stuck in
Ships
canals.
getting stuck in canals.
What is your perfect version of the future?
Gondolas over the ocean. I think airships are actually quite good too. Yes. So, Christy, they still use these in hospitals, right? They still use them in banks.
Hospital pathology tubes.
They use them in Woolworths when you want to put money in. And the thing is, why don't we just have like Uber Eats? Or, as we had this conversation before, Tuber Eats.
Tuber Eats.
That's right. Tubes. That's where it's at. It's a solution to everything. And so I've been researching this a lot.
What if one drink spills in the tube and it's just
the person
contaminated? Everything's contaminated.
The person who puts that tube in, they have to pay for it to get fixed.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's easier to clean a tube blockage than it is to clean a giant container ship stuck in the Suez Canal.
Interesting concept. Legit, we use them daily, says Christy. So what are you chucking through? Is it what's like through the hospital? What are you sending?
So you can
through?
put like a container, right? So you get like your little capsule and you put this thing in there and you put the lid on and then you stick that in the tube and it gets sucked up.
I love that.
Yep.
That's fun, isn't
But
it?
but like if you have proper pneumatic conveyance, you could just put the noodles in
Pneumatic
the tube.
conveyance.
That's like if you want to go and like download textbooks on how to build this pneumatic conveyance.
That's with a PNEU.
That's it, like pterodactyl.
Pneumatic.
That's it, pneumatic. Replicators? We're on our way to replicators. It's like...
I'm afraid.
So, replicators are actually not that far away. People have been talking about them for a while, like Star Trek, you put the... excuse me, replicator, could I please have a cup of oolong tea? Just like appears.
Is it a 3D printer? What's a replicator?
Matter compiler. So it's a 3D printer, but 3D printer uses plastic. A matter compiler just takes rubbish and turns it into what you want.
Cool. Like reorganizing
molecules.
That's it. Atoms. Replicant. What am I thinking? What's a replicant again? Am I thinking of
Blade Runner?
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner.
Replicants.
Yeah. Surely you mean Earl Grey. That is very astute.
Hey.
Who has Earl Grey?
Surely you mean Earl Grey. Wait, did we get on the topic of tea?
Yes.
Because who said Eden? You said oolong.
Yeah, because Jean-Luc Picard drinks Earl Grey, not oolong.
Oh, right.
And he drinks it hot.
How did you know it was oolong?
Because I said oolong.
Oh, you said oolong.
You tasted it.
Eden, how did you know?
Put it in the tube. If we had those tubes right now, we could just share it. We could make 1 cup of tea and pour it in and just send it to every person, right?
To all the viewers, you guys. We could get, so I need a moment. So I've brought my oolong here from China, from the Chinese tea market.
It's really
fresh
good. It's
from the
really
farm.
good. Which tea market did you get it from?
I feel like I've farmed it, but I haven't. I love it so much. So I went to a special market in Shanghai. And,
Just for tea?
Just for tea.
No.
So a Thai market. Yes.
Oh my
yes.
goodness.
And I bought different teas. And anyway, this is a beautiful one. And if you want, I want to show you guys the leaves. I want to show you how beautiful these beautiful green leaves are. Anyway, yeah.
We can go and make a cup of tea.
Yeah. Or
we had too many technical problems next time.
In the leaf.
What's that?
It's like, I don't know if everyone's keen to see
I love
leaf.
the leaf.
I'll show you next time. I'll create a little smorgasbord of tea leaf varieties. Anyway, yeah, okay. So, because Eden, I thought you'd just guessed by like my Chinese association that was oolong because oolong's popular tea in China. Anyway, whatever.
No one
Christy, I want to
here.
send you this tea. Peter Atkinson says, I use a PO box. Tea, please.
There's background noise. Oh, that's
Nathan.
Nathan. That's gonna be my fan. I'm just gonna turn this down. Is that better? Can you still hear us? I hope I've put the volume down low enough that the fan is gone, but you can still hear us.
Please let us know. Oh no, we can't. Okay.
Hello? Is that better? Hopefully the fan's gone away. I need something to cut out. Very quiet now. Let's have a look. No.
You're stupid. Okay.
I'll turn it up.
My first instinct was to start whispering, but that would
How's
be
this?
so unhelpful.
Can you hear us now?
Come back. Come back.
Hello, hello.
Hey, what's up?
Better? Is the fan annoying?
That's better?
Okay.
Amazing. Is the fan
Awesome.
still super loud?
But
still lowish.
Is that okay? Do you want louder?
Okay.
Fan?
Do you want to...
I can live with the fan if necessary.
How do we... Okay, so really what we need to do is get 2 microphones.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten around to that yet. I think we have to get 2 mics and like a splitter. Does anyone know about that? How to do that? It's got to be a
Turn off the
podcast
fan and
thing.
start sweating.
Hey!
You're being told.
Hey! Okay, it's getting hot in here. So anyway, ASMR, yo. Closed eyes open. I love your what is it? Your screen name. I love that name. What does it mean?
Okay, also some interesting bio news came out today, which is that someone just I didn't realise this.
Yeah.
The vaccine. I've been trying to find the gene sequence. They don't publish the gene sequence for the vaccine.
Oh my god, why not? I thought
Yeah.
pause because before you got one,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
understand when working on your
Yeah,
test,
yeah.
you went off open source
That's right.
code, or it was available online from a scientist in where? Somewhere in Europe?
China.
In China.
Yeah.
Yep. And they had published, what do they publish?
So they publish a whole bunch of stuff, and generally in the scientific community, every time you publish it, you publish the sequences, right? So that everyone can replicate your work.
Does a sequence, what does a sequence look like?
So we have our DNA, right? And it's like a twisted ladder. And each of the rungs is either a G, a T, an A, or a C, and it bonds with its complement. A's with T's, G's with C's. Basically, the sequence down one ladder is the opposite on the other side, and that's how DNA can copy itself, right? That gene sequence is very important because that tells the body what to do with it. Basically, all the genetic instructions for you are written in G's, T's, C's, and A's. All the instructions for the virus is written in that too. But our newest versions of the vaccine, they're also done in the same code, right? Essentially. Slightly different because it's RNA. But basically, what we've done is we've actually chopped a bit out of the virus and we put it in another virus.
Yeah.
And then put that in because it's not the whole virus.
Which other virus?
So it's actually a mutated version, a lab mutated... Well, which other virus did we put it in?
Yeah.
Chimpanzee herpes, basically.
Whoa!
I think... No, is it? No. Oh, it's a complicated one. It's a bit of chimpanzee cold with a bit of herpes with a bit of COVID. And we smush it all together.
Wait, we're adding the other why are we adding the other viruses? Because then we can build better immunity.
One part of the virus is the container that allows it to go inside our cells.
Okay.
Which is the chimp adeno-associated virus.
Chimp adeno-associated virus.
Yeah, AAV. So that's that we call that the vector. That's the thing that delivers it. And then inside there is the RNA, and inside the RNA, the DNA on that one, because it's a DNA virus. So that has the spike 2 protein, which is the thing that makes this so dangerous, and then it has a cyclomegalovirus promoter, which basically says express this lots, and then the body expresses that and it goes, oh wait a minute, this is foreign, and then it sticks on the outside of the cell, and then we're making an antibody for it. Yeah, so there's basically
Stephen, I love that you've went on to source it. So Meow's like, we don't know where it is, and Stephen's like, but I will find it.
Yeah. now with the mRNA virus, RNA uses a U instead of a T. That's about the only big difference, right?
Hold on, a U instead of a T. What does that mean?
It's just a different letter.
Okay, different letter.
Different letter.
Okay.
RNA is slightly different. Now the Moderna and Pfizer made a special U. So it's not actually a U, it's called an epsilon in in this case, and it means that the virus can't keep on the mRNA can't replicate. There's no possible way for it to do it. The building blocks necessary for the mRNA to do damage to you, if in any possible way, just don't exist.
Okay.
And it's also a sneaky little way to get it to go past our immune system, because our immune system doesn't like foreign RNA.
Okay.
Much like Pauline Hanson, it rejects anything not from inside the territory.
Hey, Alabama Man returns. We're just talking about how the current vaccine that's being developed for COVID-19 is how it works and how it's being developed.
Now, what's interesting is Pfizer and Moderna didn't actually make the sequence for their virus public. And I knew bits about it. They'd made parts of it public, but it's not like easily accessible. So anyway, there's a couple of researchers today or in the past week, one of them took a sample of the vaccine, sequenced it, and published the data.
One of the researchers from which one?
From Stanford, which wasn't connected, went and took a leftover bit in the bottom of a vial, so it wasn't wasted.
Oh, from like Moderna or Pfizer?
Yeah, from Moderna. Yeah.
Wow, this is so rebellious. I love it.
And they went and published it in a really easy to find format and put it on GitHub, which is where software people put their stuff. And when, I think this is in the public interest to know what's in this vaccine. The Pfizer one has been published before, and I actually have, interestingly, a picture of what it looks like. You want to see it?
Do we want to see? I'm going to let you guys answer that.
I'll upload it in the comments later on.
It says yes.
Yeah, so anyway, it went up there, and I got to go through and have a look at it today, which was kind of exciting. So
it's sort of like, ooh, mysterious sort of gold treasure. And Moderna and Pfizer and AstraZeneca, they didn't want to share this sequence because they're competitors, right? Because they want to be the one, because it's still a money-making exercise.
And everyone broadly knows what the chemicals are.
Yes,
everyone broadly knows what the sequence is, but no one knows exactly what's safe and exactly what's effective.
I love GitHub. Yeah, I love that the brand new research and science is happening on GitHub. Isn't that
What's your opinion on AI, Lucy?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm the resident expert.
She is?
I'm the resident expert on AI.
This is actually an AI.
Sorry, Alabama Man returns. I'm just laughing because I'm not the resident expert on AI. In fact, many of our commenters are, though, and so is Meow. My basic knowledge of AI is the Turing Test.
The Turing Test? What's the Turing Test?
So that was a test developed by, what was his first name?
Alan Turing.
Alan Turing.
Who just went on to the £50 bill.
No, in England.
Really
and there's a movie made about him called The Imitation Game. And he created a test where, and the idea of the test is that you've got two people, well, a person and a computer, and the person talks to the computer without seeing who they are. And if the computer can come across or convince the human that it is human, if it comes across as human and the human believes it's a human, that it has passed the Turing test, therefore it is successful AI.
It will pass some tests about AI.
It will pass
then we've talked about this briefly before. There's
the Turing test.
We then have strong and weak AI, which are like one of the more interesting ones. We talked about this, like, okay, what about if we have an AI where you can you go and you speak to it, and it's a box, and you give it a phrase in English and it comes out in Chinese.
Now, we talked about this before. This is the Chinese box theorem.
Something like this, right? And no matter what you put in, it will always give you the corresponding algorithm in that, corresponding phrase in that language. That's perfect, right?
Mm-hmm. So, for example, I want to know how to say. I was thinking of an example in Chinese, and I'm like,
what is it? How do we say it?
Okay, we want to say...
Incredibly convenient.
This is very convenient. 这是很方便.
很方便.
这是很方便.
这是很方便.
So I'm saying to the box, right? I'm saying, how do you say this is convenient in Chinese? And the box says back to you, 这是很方便.
That's the opposite of the Suez Canal.
It's
very inconvenient.
It's very inconvenient. And Nosnikta, we were just talking about the Suez Canal before and our ideas around that. Okay, so the box. So now, what's inside the box? That's what's important with it.
That's right.
This test is called the Chinese box test, and it's regarding AI. So if the box can convince you, no, I'm getting this wrong.
No, you're right. You're almost there. So there could be two options inside the box. One's strong AI and one's weak AI. Because we're not actually translating, we're talking about experience. But we'll talk about translation as a model to look at this. So strong AI would be a Chinese translator.
Yeah.
Right? Who listens to the English, writes it out in Chinese. A weak AI would be someone who has a book that contains every phrase in English and Chinese. And we might not think there's a huge difference, right? Because functionally, the person on the outside can't tell the difference. But one of them can actually think, and the other one just has a series of tables that they look up. So one imitates the ability to understand Chinese, and one actually understands Chinese.
Because the first example, the human that instantly translated, they're using, like, they're thinking, whereas the other example, the weaker AI, is using and drawing information that it's finding.
Is there any difference?
Is there a difference? What do you think? I don't know.
Because functionally on the outside...
Yeah.
Our Twitch... It's the one we didn't put in. How do you find us on Twitch?
Sorry, because guys, I have designed this beautiful graphic. We are Meow and Lushess today on Canva. So on Twitch, you can find me at LUSH_ESS, and actually we'd really love it if you created an account, or if you are on Twitch, if you just followed us, because then we can become closer to being, we get closer to our goals of being Twitch affiliates. We need 100 followers to do that. So we're a little bit far away from that. So it means a big deal to us if you can follow. Now, if you can subscribe, well, you own us. That's it. So, that's next level.
We can get a decent camera. We can get a decent camera. We can just get a decent microphone and internet connection.
This is my webcam, which is sort of doing okay today. But we probably need a mic set up. Maybe even better lighting. Maybe even, I don't know, something nice back here. A picture of you. If you subscribe, we'll put a picture of you, legit.
I'm just going to quickly jump back a little bit. Let's finish off strong and weak AI. So it doesn't actually matter, right? And this is important because it says if an AI can convince us that what it's doing is thinking, we can't actually tell the difference. Does it actually matter whether it's actually thinking?
Yeah.
Like, how do we know we're not just a series of, like, tables? Like, we're not just, our brain isn't basically a book that just looks up one input and gives an output. Like, is there... something special that happens in it.
How do we test whether or not we're the weaker AI? Like, how do we...
We just convinced ourselves we're the stronger AI by creating stupid little thought experiments like this and then saying we're the strong version. Because we put ourselves in a strong position.
Are we born with sort of information that we source, or do we just learn things and then put that in a box that we just take out when we need it?
I've been thinking heaps about this because instinct happens in animals, right? Like, they're born with, like, inherent amounts of knowledge. And, like, how the fuck does that get put in? We know that there's certain elements, like RNA plays a role. So if you get a snail and you, like, hit it with a stick, basically, and you suck out some of its RNA and you squirt that into another snail, it gets scared of the stick.
Wow.
What the fuck?
So that's inherited knowledge through RNA.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to transfer memories like that because people think like
transferring memories.
A lot of neuroscientists, they're all like, it's all about the structure. It's all about the way that your neurons are patterned and firing, hierarchy and stuff. But it may be something completely different. We may actually.
You know what it is? It's just past lives. That's all it is.
Is it?
We're remembering past lives when a stick was scary.
People in Byron Bay will soon be able to go back to their past life and remember the time they got coronavirus, because I think there's a lot of past lives about to be revisited.
Amy, thank you so much for posting that link.
There was
lovely emojis.
There was a comment I just wanted to bring in from TreeX. Can you tell us if you get the DNA gene therapy vaccine, does it mean you'll definitely never be able to get gene therapy in the future? I want to talk about this. So we talked about the vector, right? This chimp virus that you get.
A vector, and what's a vector? A vector is the container?
The method of delivery.
Oh, right? A vector is a method
container.
of delivery.
Yeah, in this case it's a container.
Okay.
But generally a vector is something that, like, moves somewhere. We think about it like that. And we talk about it in genetics as the thing that delivers the vaccine. So, like, technically the human and the syringe are both vectors, but basically it's the virus.
We are a vector. I love it.
the virus is the vector. Now,
if someone's like, what are you? I'll be like, I'm a singer. I'm a Twitcher, Twitch streamer, and I'm a vector.
You are a vector.
I love that.
What for? We're still working that out. You will get immunity to the serotype of AAV that's put inside. So there's much like we have influenza, we have all different strains.
You'll get immunity to the serotype. What's it, serotype with an S?
Yeah, so basically,
S?
Yep. We have different strains of this. That specific strain you'll make an immunity to. But the volume at which we inject it into our body means that even though it causes an immune response to the virus itself, we just inject so much of it that it overwhelms the immune system. So we're getting 2 doses of this.
Yeah.
When we get it the first time, we don't just get immunity. If you take the AstraZeneca vaccine, we don't just get immunity to COVID. We get immunity to the vaccine. Then we have to go round 2 and we're immune to the fucking particle. But we inject I'm not getting 10 to the 12 particles or something stupid like this, right? To give you an example, it's like half the amount of 10 to the 12. What's in that range? 10 to the 23 is about the amount of grains there are sand.
You've lost me with numbers. Go on.
If you can cut the Earth in half.
Yeah.
And take the amount of grains of sand there are on one half of the Earth.
Oh, yeah, easy, yeah.
That's how many particles of COVID we're injecting in our bodies. Correct. Stephen Morello, please correct me if I'm wrong.
Where's our facts, man?
It's something like 10 to the 12. I pulled that number out of my ass, but it's something stupidly large like this. Are we still refreshing? Hold on, I think we've...
Let's check that our comments are...
I think we are.
happening.
I think we are.
Alright.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, alright. Okay. So anyway, a stupidly large amount.
Where'd you get that food from? Oh, over there. Alright,
I got looked after you.
So where did this cracker come from? And by cracker, I mean him.
No, that's it. We're gonna get us cancelled.
You're a cracker.
Okay.
Is that a bad word?
So basically, you will make immunity. Yeah, look, it's a racist term for white people.
Oh.
But we're allowed to use it against each other. I think
I
because
just
we're
meant
both white.
crazy person. Sorry. Yeah.
Wolfram Alpha says 3.3 times the number of stars in our galaxy. That's how many of this virus we're going to get injected with.
3.3 times.
So much virus. It's insane. But it's fine. Our bodies
Not
are used to it.
comprehensible, is it, Stephen?
No.
And 0.05 times the number of red. Oh, so we have that many red blood cells as well?
1/20th. It's quite a huge amount. So
wow. Okay. So, not going to ever understand that. Cool. Yep.
basically, I should have. Yeah.
I'm going to have to know
a lot.
What?
The particles are
Wow.
very small though.
Okay.
Very, very small. Like viruses are insanely small. You can't even our most powerful microscopes can barely see.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Okay.
Your own electron micrographs, you can only see shadows of them basically.
I think viruses are super interesting.
They are. Are they alive? Is a virus alive? Please let us know in the
I
comments.
think so.
Yeah. What's the definition of life?
Maybe it wants to replicate.
Okay, yeah.
Does it want to replicate?
Wants to replicate. What else? What's important?
It wants to evolve to a state
Yeah.
that is most beneficial for it to live a longish life
Yeah.
before dying. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
want to just have a really quick life cycle.
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah?
What else?
Can I say that?
Yeah.
Replicating, long lifespan. Does it eat? Maybe
Yeah.
it ingests, consumes
Yeah.
energy, or things. That's 3.
Yeah.
This is a fun exercise.
Mhm.
Thanks for doing it with me. One more. Well, because I don't think it has to be thinking. I don't think it necessarily has to be that thinking. Maybe it has to. It has to inherit knowledge.
That is very, very clever. That is very, very astute. 100 points. Because why isn't fire alive? We know fire's not alive. We just know it, right?
Yeah.
It shares properties of life. First 3 answers can be answers to why fire is alive, but you said something very important. It doesn't inherit knowledge, right?
I feel like a student in a class, and you ask my science teacher, and he's like, "This did a very good job today." Thank you very much.
NASA, when they first went looking for life, they had to define what life is, and no one had done it before, right? It's actually a lot harder than you think.
My man.
So one of the things about life is, initially NASA said, this is in the 70s when they went Viking to Mars, and they said any self-replicating organism capable of Darwinian selection. So capable of evolution. This is a big. This is a big point, important part. But then somebody came up and said, okay, well, what about if you have a race of immortal beings that never give birth? That you can have a conversation with.
I don't know.
They're not capable of evolution, right? So they wouldn't be counted.
Okay.
So they had to revise their definition, and then for the longest time, I don't think it is now. I think they've revised it, but for the longest time, they said when they got asked what is life, they said we'll know it when we find it.
We'll know it when we find it. No, we won't. We'll still be confused. We'll be
We'll
like,
bomb it when we find it.
How very human.
Yeah.
We will conquer it and eat it.
Definitely. Speaking of which, they just somebody just released a report today that says it's the scientific consensus that if we find life, it is going to be guaranteed to be more intelligent than us. I'll post a link if someone reminds me.
That makes sense.
Intelligent
But why?
life. I'll see if I can post it after this. I didn't actually read it, so intelligent
Amy,
life.
how do I become immortal? You're immortal in my heart.
How to become immortal? Okay, you put yourself on the blockchain. That's my new way. So you can write a book, plant a tree, have a child, become an NFT on the blockchain.
I love this list. Okay, this is how you become immortal.
Yeah.
You write a book.
Yeah.
You plant a tree.
Yeah.
You have a child.
Yeah.
And put yourself on the blockchain.
That's my new way. That's 4 ways to become immortal. There's 3, but now NFTs. Sign yourself up as an NFT.
NFTs are not Is that the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, non-fungible token.
Yeah,
Fungible
non-fungible token.
Non-fungible.
And there's actually concerns about them because they're generating so much greenhouse gas that people are starting to get worried that there's this self-fulfilling prophecy where basically people need them to make money because they've invested all this money in them.
Yeah.
So they're creating this thing where they're like exponentially making like more and more NFTs. They're selling for more and more money, but all that's happening is we're just spending tons of electricity to increase the value of the blockchain.
Because the servers that hold or keep NFTs, non-fungible tokens running, are going through so much energy and creating like further greenhouse gas emissions.
Proof of work, which is the current way that most cryptos are being done at the moment.
Could we just power NFTs through, solar and wind?
Yeah, you can.
We can?
You can. In fact,
Okay,
I invested
so
in a very
solution.
famous one.
Yeah.
They made like $100 billion or something, and then the guy ran off with all the money. I lost my money. Envio. And I could have got it back, but I only invested $1,000. I would have got like $600 back, but it was such a mission. I couldn't work out how to do it, so I just let it go.
This is shocking. So you invested money in this. What was Envy on?
It was an ICO, initial coin offering.
Initial coin offering.
Yeah.
Don't know what that is. What is that?
Basically, it's like an IPO. So say for example, we've got a company. It's called Meow-Lushess Industries.
Yeah.
What do we make?
We make money, but we also we also make cute t-shirts.
Or do we?
Yeah. And,
Okay.
And our faces are on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. And we're about to go public. I'll buy this Meow-Lushess coin. Okay, we're about to go public. We would ask people who want to buy shares in our company to come and basically put in an order, and then we have an IPO, and then it
Meow-Lushess makes a pet shampoo.
We could.
Because it's like a luscious cat. Eden, you're a genius.
Yeah.
You're so smart.
Tea tree will be the first flavour. Ready to order. So basically, an ICO is the blockchain equivalent of an IPO.
Okay, a blockchain equivalent.
We would say we're about to go public with our coin. Everyone who wants, you can kind of put in your orders now. When it goes public, we reserve a certain amount of coins for you, and then we click the button, and everyone who's pre-ordered gets their coins.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is this causes a giant jump in profit, and then you can sell them if you want or whatever. But it injects tons of money in the business. That's a really good way of getting an idea started. But these ICOs were crazy. Like they would make over $100 million in 30 minutes. There was one, my friend did one that made over $100 million in I think 30 seconds.
Did they have the money?
Yeah, he's got it. His name's Ben Gertzel. He made Sophia the robot.
What is this? There's like 5 different things you mentioned that I just want to stop and question you about.
It's the robot that has more rights than women in Saudi Arabia.
Oh,
It's
I've
allowed to
heard
drive
about
a car.
this robot.
Yeah, I met him in
robot.
I met him in San Francisco. Ben Gertzel. Yeah.
Gertzel.
He set up an AI blockchain, which is really interesting. But he's still doing it. He also made a whole like cool little robots. Like
cool.
Like,
I love that when people. Okay, I love it when scientists get money. To be honest, that's
Me
what
too.
I like.
There's a lot of money. There's a lot of money that went to shit for these ICOs, but
So okay, so you put money into Envion, and it was initial coin offering, but what was their product? It was renewable energy, right?
it was basically buying shipping containers that would compute the blockchain. And every time you compute the blockchain, you get money in Bitcoin.
Okay.
And you basically park them in really, really cold places, and they generate tons of heat, and then you use solar power to run the servers. And it was a really clever idea.
That is a clever idea.
Yeah.
And then before we jump into this, tell me. So then everyone put their money in, and he was like.
And then one of the other guys who was like, one of the guys who was like, so there's all these cool programmers, and they put this like finance guy as CEO, and he did an analog takeover of their company using some sneaky fucking Wall Street bullshit.
What's an analog takeover?
So a lot of people will like, in blockchain, there's all of these ways you can like attack the currency. So you can like steal, like you can get 51% of people who own the currency to vote with you, and then they're actually all your friends, and you steal the currency, you take everyone's money, or you can do all this like weird, or you can like convince them to give you like your secret information. But they weren't prepared for him to use a way that people would take over your business, not in blockchain. And he just bought their shares out or something like that, and then he owned the company.
Wild.
But no, he ended up getting in heaps of trouble for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Is it sort of like one coin?
What is Black Collider? What's this?
Do you mean the Hadron Collider? Ooh, the Block Collider. Let's check that out, Amy. That sounds really interesting. Because did you guys see the news about the Large Hadron Collider recently? And I think they might have found some answers around the standard. What's it called? The standard something theory. Standard particle.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very, very interesting.
I'm super excited about that because our current knowledge around. So we're currently going on Einstein's. Oh God, I really hope I explain this okay.
I'm going to have to read this next time. I'm going to have to read this next time for Amy about a block collider.
Yeah, Amy, let's listen
to that
next time.
Yeah. So Einstein came up with
the general theory of relativity.
That's right.
But we still need a general theory of like everything.
Which what's missing from the general theory of relativity is, and when you think about this, like okay, so relativity is saying that everything kind of like connects with each other, right? So like pretty much everything you can measure in terms of other things, and like we know this because we have like physical constants, right? Like we can measure a meter in how much a hydrogen atom moves, and like
Oh, is that how we measure a meter?
Yeah,
wow.
and then we have like a liter of water weighs 1 kilogram, and all of these things, right? There's all these like constants, right? But there's one we can't work out with everything else. There's no formula, which is gravity.
Yes, gravity.
All the other things, they connect with each other, and we thought we'd found it with the Higgs boson giving things mass, right? And they basically said there's this field, kind of like the Force from Star Wars, that permeates everything, and that basically you collapse this field, to use the Force, and that creates mass. You basically, it gets drawn from some field, is the idea. But they were trying to work out, like, we know that matter and energy are interchangeable, and we've got like fundamental forces. So we got electromagnetism, strong force, weak force, strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, electromagnetism, and I think that's gravity. We don't have a way to tie gravity in with the other 4 fundamental forces.
And then there's like dark matter and dark energy as well, which
anti-gravity.
And you go, which we did
behaves like that. So is that right? Yeah. So it repels from each other, which shouldn't. So dark matter is basically matter we can't see. So if you had a giant, from my understanding, dark matter could be like having a giant planet floating through, but not being a star. It could actually be dark matter. So it's matter that we can't see, but we know it's there. But dark energy, I think, is the opposite of gravity. So it pushes matter away from each other. If you think of it, it drives the expansion of the universe.
Wow, that's what. So we still don't know about that. Kevin Fry fan page. Hello, welcome back. We're talking about this recent development in the Large Hadron Collider. Scientists think, and I really want to read this out to you.
I'm going to bring it in.
I actually have the article ready
because
I was looking at it. I was like, this is amazing. All right. So, because guys, this is like the fundamental nature of our universe. This is really cool stuff.
This is
All right.
if this was a role. So there's a subreddit, one of my favorites, called R Outside, and it's the world's biggest role playing game. It's got 7 billion players.
Hello, it's the Ranger. Are you a Ranger? Welcome.
So Outside is a game with 7 billion players, and when we run the Large Hadron Collider, it's trying to reverse engineer the source code on the video game that we're playing.
I think I know who the Ranger is. Sorry, I highlighted him out, but I won't reveal. Sorry. Yeah, the video game.
on the video game of real life.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
This is how we try and find the source code. Is the Large Hadron Collider. We're trying to look at the source code.
Because that is the source code for
That's
how everything
This
works.
is the source code. We might have been reading it in the wrong language. Dun, dun, dun.
Last week, physicists at the Large Hadron Collider in Switzerland announced they might have discovered a brand new force of nature. Or, to be precise, they unveiled new results which, if confirmed, would suggest hints of a violation of the standard model of particle physics.
Interesting.
What does that mean? And why are they making such a big deal of it, while at the same time stopping short of claiming new discovery? The answers lie in the way particle physicists think about evidence and results, and what it could mean to find a violation of the standard model. The standard model, devised between the 1950s and 1970s, that's ages ago, has been enormously successful at explaining the behavior of subatomic particles and 3 of the 4 fundamental forces we know about. What are those?
Strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, electromagnetism.
Yeah. So, the physicists think they've found a situation that the standard model can't explain, where the model predicts a particle called a beauty quark.
Beauty quark?
Yeah, should decay. It should decay into other particles called muons and electrons at about the same rate. It looks like it actually decays into electrons more than muons. Now, why this is exciting? Because we already know the standard model doesn't tell the whole story about what's happening in the universe. It's very good at telling us about matter and energy, but it doesn't provide an account of the so-called dark matter and dark energy scientists believe must exist to explain the large-scale behavior of stars and galaxies. And the standard model is also tremendously difficult to reconcile with our best explanation of gravity, as Meow said, which is Einstein's theory of general relativity. But the standard model is the best step along the road to a complete theory of everything. So look, it goes on, but that's the basic sort of gist of things. How exciting.
Really interesting. Now, I poo-poo Large Hadron Collider stuff because Richard Feynman very famously said that as far as he's concerned with science, there's physics and then there's stamp collecting. And what he meant by this is that, like, if you were studying biology, you were going and you were finding beetles and you were just looking at beetles, but you weren't, like, coming up with theories, right? Now, the most exciting science, in my opinion, is probably Evo-Devo, which is developmental and evolutionary biology, right? Super exciting. But physics kind of actually became stamp collecting. They're just putting more of the particles on the board in the standard unified theory, right? They're like, oh, we found a Higgs boson, that goes here, and we already predicted it before we found it, right?
So we're putting it on the old model rather than changing up our new findings to suit a newer model.
And that's like stamp collecting. And what they've done now is they've said, oh, well, maybe that the board is wrong. Maybe we should take all the bits off the board.
The board is so wrong. Even when I watched the Stephen Hawking film, The Theory of Everything, I think the movie is called, and where, you know, he comes up with this theory about how everything works, and then years later he's like, I was wrong, you know, this was groundbreaking at the time, everyone thought it was great, but actually I was wrong, blah blah blah. So yeah, even the top, you know, geniuses of the world are ready to revise things always.
Importantly, science is always wrong. And this is one thing that a lot of people have problems with. So I saw a post on my wall.
You're going to be quoted on that. That's going to be the one quote.
The first lecture I went to in biology, my lecturer said, if you've come here to learn the truth, you're doing the wrong degree.
Wow, what a powerful statement.
Because science is always wrong.
Science is always wrong. What do you mean by that?
He said, the only place you will find truth is in religion.
What?
Because by its very nature, science is always wrong. Because science is attempting to explain stuff that we observe. So we come up with models to explain the behavior. But we don't know the truth, right?
Yeah.
it has to be infinitely falsifiable. So what we do is we create a method, the scientific method, and we prove it wrong, right? And that's how we advance in science, right? So basically what happens is science always has to be able to be proven wrong.
Yes.
By that nature, it can't ever be right, because if it is, it can't be proven wrong. At that point, it becomes religion.
What's it?
So we can think about it like this. If I was a caveman and I had the scientific method, I could say, I have a hypothesis, the world is flat.
Okay.
And as a caveman, would I be right in thinking that?
Well, you haven't tested it. So...
I did. I looked at the horizon and it's flat.
Okay. So would you be wrong?
Well, I'd be right according to my theory. But then, if someone's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
If I if I climb up a hill that's big enough, I can actually see that it's curved. And then it'd be like, okay, the world is round is my new hypothesis. I live on a saucer.
Okay.
And that would be right too, right? It's more right than the previous one.
Okay.
So there's actually a critical thinking group called Less Wrong, because they say, well, this theory is less wrong than the one before.
Right.
And what we do is we go to one that's so less wrong that we can fire a rocket and take photos of Pluto, because it's that less wrong. But it's not right. It's just we know the margin of error is smaller and smaller and smaller, and what we go for is as small as possible. But we need to be able to do things like build bridges and look at mobile phones and create internet. And these things don't need to be perfect. We just need to understand what our bounds that we're operating under
the
are.
Bounds, right?
So with these models, as we said, this has been useful since the 50s. Well, okay, the standard model of physics allowed us to nuke Hiroshima.
Wow.
So
that's a big deal. That's
pretty useful.
A big amount of damage.
It might not be perfect, but
I like this comment here by Kevin Fry fan page. I like science. You can learn chemistry and be like Walter White, the ultimate badass.
That's
really
right.
Cool. I also like Carrie Matheson in Homeland. Anyway, science is just centuries of
It's true. It's true. And people will always be like, but in last century, scientists said that DDT was good and asbestos was good and smoking was good.
That's right.
And the thing is, we do the best with what we can at the time now.
Yeah.
And the longer we go on, the better our science gets. Now, your hair looks really good.
I think Hillary Clinton emails is talking about you.
No, I don't think so.
Hillary Clinton emails, you're talking about Meow.
You need to send it to PayPal so I can get a hair transplant. We can replant it all the way.
Yeah,
there we go.
I agree, Hillary Clinton emails.
So
it's nice to see men with long hair, right?
I love long hair. I'm sad it's going away. It's slowly going bald. Do you know what causes baldness?
High testosterone levels.
It does, yeah. After 5 reductase. And there's actually... if I had CRISPR babies, if I had holodeck embryos, I could cure baldness in 90% of them.
You could just turn that gene off, right?
Yeah, well,
there's actually testosterone.
Yeah, you can do a gene test and find out whether their boys are going to go bald.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. I believe that.
In fact, if you went to an IVF clinic, sometimes they do pre-implantation genetic diagnosis. If you're at risk...
Wait. If you go to an IVF clinic, you can do pre-implantation genetic diagnosis.
So say, for example, we wanted to see whether we had... say, for example, I had relatives who had cystic fibrosis.
Right.
1 in every 700 people is a carrier.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
We could check to see whether we were likely to have a baby that had cystic fibrosis.
Yeah, right.
But if we did that... Say, for example, both our genetics, we were both recessive carriers. Not all of our babies would get it. Only, half of them would get it, right?
Okay, because it's, yeah.
So what we could do is we could get our sperm and eggs, mix it together, and we could pick only the ones that don't have it. And that's legal.
Right, yeah.
But the way they do it is they sequence it. So we could also sequence it and pick one that wasn't going to go bald.
I've heard about all this.
And maybe one that's a bit taller and...
I've talked to women about this and about the idea of, being able to choose...
Actually, our baby would have blue eyes.
Really? Because what colour eyes do you have?
Blue.
I swear yours are green. Really? Maybe this light.
What do you reckon?
Green.
Putting their eyes up.
Alright, we're going to ruin it. Okay. We're going to ruin the focus. No, I think... Oh, we have the same colour eyes.
Yeah, our baby would have the same colour eyes.
I think... maybe we're already related.
you go far enough back, we all are.
Yeah, and Amy, I'm thinking about freezing my eggs. Any advice, tips, hacks? Because I've absolutely had this discussion with women who are like, we can choose, if I want a boy or a girl via IVF, what sort of genes you want them to have. Interesting, isn't it?
I would.
I have to go and cook lentil herbs in my camper van. Bye bye. Enjoy those lentil herbs. Very healthy.
Thank you, Kevin Fry. So it's becoming less and less important to freeze your eggs, because as last week we were discussing this, they were coming up with ways to be able to take cells and turn it back into embryos or undifferentiated cells. So basically, sperm and eggs are just cells that have gone through meiosis, and we're finding ways to be able to take different stem cells in your body and make it force those cells to undergo this kind of process to make sperm or eggs or a fertilized embryo or whatever it is. So I think like right now, I don't think there's anything hugely crazy about it. You just need to find. I would look at the long-term stability of these companies. So like, is it a hospital? Is it like the people who got frozen like Walt Disney? Cryogenics.
Yeah.
Most of those places, they had like blackouts during floods and things like that, and they like defrosted, and they're like, oh, it's okay, we'll just like refreeze them. But they might have like been like balked now.
Yeah, for sure
You
they are.
You take the steak out of the fridge, you thaw it out, you put it back in a few times.
Yeah, it's
not quite the same.
Is it? No.
So you want to basically go with that, but I'm pretty sure they just stick it in liquid nitrogen, and it's fine for forever. So I would recommend diversify. Maybe put your eggs in two places, but I think it's becoming less of a thing. Like we're going to be able to have babies much longer. We're going to be able to have babies later in life.
Honestly, this is such a common topic amongst women
Do you get ads
that I
for it?
talk to. No, that's because I've been intelligent in listing myself on social media profiles as male. So I get the ads for men, which I'm really grateful for, because I think the ads for women would probably drive me a bit crazy.
Yeah,
I'd probably be way more body conscious than I already am, because I'd just be seeing like, lose weight and wear this bikini this summer, and I'd be like, oh god, I'm inadequate or something. And I'd probably be getting baby ads, and I'd be like, go away.
Yeah, definitely. I think Christy Benson just got the comment of the stream
award,
which is
don't put all your eggs in one basket. Yeah, eugenics, and there was some other
eugenics is interesting. Because eugenics is like we think about like Hitler, master race, all this stuff, but eugenics has been around for a lot longer, which was hopefully we won't get cancelled. Which is talking about you is good, like utopia, right? And genics is genes. So they're saying like eugenics is this goal of like striving for good genes. And there's some elements of it which are like you can breed out a lot of genetic illness by being careful about which babies you fertilize or implant. The more that IVF comes, the more of a responsibility you have to implant the healthiest embryos. You actually have a duty of care to do the most.
I believe that's a duty of care as well.
One of the things that's hard though is you have things like the deaf community where they say that genetic illness runs, deafness that runs in families, and they don't see it as a disability.
Yeah.
So they should have the right to be. That's it, and they should have the right to be able to keep whatever genes they want. But I think
that's difficult. That's a difficult area.
It is.
Because there are some, diseases which people would certainly live without. Like, rather live without. They'd certainly say, I wish I was not born without this. But then maybe you have people in the deaf community who are like, I'm fine with having this. So that's hard.
I want to hate eugenics, but I don't. Like,
not Hitlery. We don't want Hitlery eugenics. Definitely not.
Well, what's allowed?
What is allowed?
Yeah.
Well, currently, like, you mean what is currently allowed, or what do we think is allowed? What do we... Well, hectically is an interesting trick to get social media ads off your back. Absolutely. Oh my god, because I do feel that subconsciously we are really affected by these ads all the time. And I think I'd feel a lot worse about myself because of all the things that people are trying to sell to me because they want to make me feel inadequate, so I buy it. So yeah, I actually really recommend to everyone to change your gender on social media profiles so that we only want ragged.
So I've been watching Vampire Diaries and I'm like fucking obsessed. I hate it so bad.
Wait, stop, because the other week you were like, we need to get rid of everybody on the earth that has been watching Married at First Sight. But I do feel like Vampire Diaries is in a similar vein.
It kind of is. I like trashy drama, but like I think about it like there's always some form of fiction narrative that people watch and it binds you together a little bit, right? So like in Greece they had the Pantheon. And you would go and they have all the gods, right? And Athena is like, the god of love, and Zeus is the god that always gets his dick out, and like, But you go and watch plays about these people. And then you quote them in daily life, kind of like The Simpsons or something like this.
Yeah.
But it forms this common social fabric that everyone can relate to and draw from, that allows for common experience and allows for participation of common social ritual. This is very important.
Well said.
This is very important to form tight-knit communities, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have it, your empire falls down because people can't relate to each other. They just kill each other, or they do all these things. What a Zeus stick looks like. It depends which animal he decides to be on that day. Because he has been a bull, he has been a swan, he's been fucking everything.
Guys, if you don't know about Greek sort of gods and that sort of mythology, it's the most interesting. You guys have to look it up. I'm sure you know about it.
Now, Trekkies are the same. Eden just brought this in. They have this shared social fabric. So their
Star
own jokes.
Trekkies?
Star Trekkies.
Oh, so the community of people who love Star Trek.
We're both Trekkies. We're both mad Trekkies.
I'm really keen one day to watch Star Trek. I've been putting it off. Just feel like I'm ready to get into it, but I have the time. I'm really keen.
I'm going to give you a solid diet. I'm going to tell you which one you should watch. And I'm going to say you should watch Next Generation, then Deep Space Nine, then Voyager, then Enterprise.
Yeah.
And that's a good solid start. Basically you have these common stories. Now, Vampire Diaries is shit, but it's very predictable, right? Which is kind of nice.
Is this because Sarah's watching it?
We started watching
it.
We both started watching it.
It's the best when you start watching shows with your partner and you're just like, oh, I love it, yeah.
We have to watch 2 weeks this episode so we can have a discussion about it. But basically, we can have a super simple rundown of how it goes. The chef and the chief security officer are involved in a transporter accident where they get combined into one person.
Oh.
Tuvok and Neelix become Tuviks.
Okay.
Tuviks, a lot of time passes while they try and work out how to undo this. Now, during this time, Tuviks becomes a valuable member of the crew, which has the abilities of both, right? Neelix's wife is a bit upset. Tuvok, now they finally find a way to separate them again. But Tuviks decides that he doesn't want to be separated.
Yeah.
But the wife of one of the halves says she wants him back, and the captain says, I have an ethical dilemma because I have the lives of 2 people versus 1. So it's my obligation to separate them back into 2 people. But the conscious person says, I don't want to be separated. And she's like, well, I think as if you're individuals, you wouldn't want to be combined together.
Yeah.
So she orders Tuviks to be murdered.
Just to get rid of both of them.
Turns them back into one. And they both say thank you to her, say that she made the right moral decision. But she murdered an innocent new person.
Oh, I just understood it. I was like half following. Now I totally get it. Tuvik's dead now.
It's like, do you sacrifice the one? The other 2 already died. The other 2 already died to make a new one, right? Should you kill that one to bring the other 2 back? People get very, very angry about whether it's murder or whether she did the right thing.
Yeah.
Now, she basically said that, well, she was worried. She was worried that she needed her security officer. That was a huge thing, right? So she's like, well, for the sake of the ship, I need to put it back.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she's fucking murder.
Yeah, that's your view. Eden, what do you think? Stephen, what do you think? Kes was Neelix's partner.
And we all know what happened to Kes.
We have.
Kes went and the actor ended up going fucking crazy and exposing herself to children in the past 5 or 10 years. Yeah, she went off the deep end, seriously hardcore.
Went off the deep end.
Yeah.
Seriously hardcore.
She also did in the show too, so it's kind of hilarious.
Now, I just want to check our stats so far. How much time we've been streaming for.
We've got over 100 comments, by the way, a long time ago, which thank you guys so much.
Can we just hold on? So we've been live for 1 hour and 8 minutes. Cool. I just want to check because on our new streaming setup, everything looks a bit different.
Yeah.
Do you guys like my little pink and purple graphic? We are Meow Lushess. We talk about science tech. Ask a question.
There's one big thing we haven't talked about yet, which I want to get through as well.
The video is having trouble.
Which super quickly. Oh, okay. Cabinet reshuffle.
It was murder.
It was murder.
The video keeps cutting out. Sorry, Christy.
Okay.
Should we talk about this and then head out?
Cabinet reshuffle's a load of shit. Liberals going to lose government.
Okay, in Australia, in government, there's been recently a cabinet reshuffle because of concerns around Christian Porter, who was the Attorney General, and because of allegedly sexual assault that he was a part of. And so since then, Australian politics, the party that's in government, has moved around all the different members. They've now made him, and this is funny as well, it's tragic. So they've now made this guy the Minister of Science and Industry. Now, the Academy of Sciences in Australia, usually like all the peak bodies, when a new minister is appointed, they will congratulate them and say, welcome to the role, so excited to have you, very ceremonial. But the Academy of Sciences did this for Christian Porter, and everybody, all these scientists and members of the Academy complained. They're like, we don't like him, he has done nothing for us, he's not interested in us, he's not going to do anything for us, we hate him. So the Academy of Sciences apologized.
No!
They apologized for welcoming him, and this is such a, this is not, I don't know if this has even happened before, but it's like the Academy, Awards, they're called. It's like them saying sorry about this award we gave, like it never happens. But people are so unhappy, and it's just hilarious that this has happened, that they've said we're so.
But it's like the people don't have any confidence in government. When everyone underneath the person at the top has no confidence, you can't run a country like that. Like they're just not going to acknowledge what he's saying. Also, we had a new cabinet position created, which the chick, what was her name?
We're talking about the.
It wasn't Michaela Akash. She was promoted to Attorney General. There was another person, I forget who it was, please remind me, who Scott Morrison said is now the Prime Minister of Women.
The Prime Minister of Women. He said she's the prime woman. She meant primary.
No, he said
right?
I went and looked this up because I did not believe this. She is now the Prime Minister of Women.
And then she corrected him by saying you meant the primary.
Yeah. Basically, he invented some new structure which basically said all the ministerial portfolios with women in them, all this stuff, they all go to her, which is just like.
And she's not really done anything for women, to be honest, guys.
He's clutching at straws.
I'm not very impressed with the woman who's been appointed. She's done nothing. It seems that she, it's just the people in the party sort of being rewarded for their loyalty, and it's not looking good. It's not looking good. Yes, agreed. Put your other social links in the graphics, YouTube and Twitch links. Thanks, Eden. Okay, I'll do that.
100%.
I'll do that on Canva. I made this on Canva.
So lovely. Thank you.
Thank you for loving the graphics, Christy. Actually, it's the template's like really similar to what I've used. I've just changed the colours. Okay, we're dropping. All right. Before you go, I'm curious to find out what you are reading, books, listening, podcasts, anything too.
I'm curious.
You're curious. Well, let me tell you. Let me open my Audible app. Alright, so I really want to talk about this at some stage, but I'm going to need like a good 10 minutes. The three body problem, the most prominent sci-fi